الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم ألهمنا مراشد أمورنا وأعذنا من شرور أنفسنا. The surah after surah Ash-Shu'ara, which we explained yesterday, that a sha'ir was not just a poet. It had nothing to do with saying beautiful words and having stanzas, but it was that magician or that master of the tongue who was able to draw a picture in the minds of people. A khiyali mazmoon, in such a manner he would portray it, that despite the listener knowing it's nothing but a lie, but it would sit and become instilled in the mind and the heart of that person. If he had no desire for liquor, after hearing the description of liquor, his intention will be to go and purchase one, no matter how expensive it is, no matter how far it is from his morals, his character. What today we call the world of advertisement, that was the sha'iri of the past. What we call today advertising something which is evil in nature, which is far from the morals and character of a person, a lifestyle which is advertised. What we today call the lifestyle of Hollywood, the lifestyle of the West. Forget a Muslim, even a non-Muslim of normal morals and character. If he had to just take himself 50, 60 years back, maybe a little more, just before the World War, if he had to think what was the nature of even the Christians at that time, how much of modesty there was in the world. If at that time a Christian father had to understand that down the line, my daughter will be dressing in a manner as though she got no clothing, which Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam described as kasiyatun. They will be wearing clothing, ariyatun, but totally naked. If even a Christian man at that time had to understand or be told how your daughter will dress down the line. But what was this world of advertising, that it was going to put such a filthy picture in the mind of people, that the time was going to come, forget a Christian man's daughter, it was going to be a Muslim man. Not only a Muslim man, that person might even have had the fortune, or what we will call, unfortunately, to belong to the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of the predictions that were given in the previous books, in the books of the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam, Ka'b Ahbar was the narrator. He would speak of a time that the world would see that a man of the Quraysh, a man of the Banu Hashim, from the immediate family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a man who will be in charge of Al-Aqsa, the Mubarak lands. Who that individual is, we will never really know, but indication, a chance can be that we can point towards what we today call the Hashimite kingdom. What today we speak about Bashar al-Assad and his father and his grandfather. And then we go into Jordan and we hear of the Hashimi Abdullah of Jordan. And if their nasab is traced and it goes directly back to the immediate family, the Hashimites of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then we find in the family of Abdullah of Jordan, if we have to find immodesty, we will say we found an example what was mentioned in the previous books, that a time will come where a man from the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be in charge of the holy lands, referring to the lands of Al-Aqsa. But his daughter will be such that she will walk around. The wordings that comes in the narration is, neither will the front be covered, neither will the back be covered. It's what the world today, they do not call it naked, but the people of Iman understand this is nothing but naked. The wording of the narration comes that around her, if any man dare criticize, if any person of Iman shows his anger or resentment or shock, that from what a noble family, who would have ever thought a girl would ever walk like this, The wording comes in the narration, behind her will be police. And their eyes will be on the people around, that if anyone dares criticize the manner she is walking and how she is showing her body, then that man will be killed. Perhaps the world already saw this here. After the Khilafat fell and the Muslim world was divided, how nudity, immodesty, immorality entered into the Muslim world, how it entered into the Arabs, how it entered into those that whose fortune would be that their nasab goes to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but whose misfortune is that their character and their actions go directly to the devil. So Shu'ara was going to be that entertainment, that world of advertising that was going to create a picture. From that world, the next step would be obviously the worship of that. First was amazement with something, and then would be, after amazement is the worship of something. As we step into what is called the future, into a new era, into a new day, after this virus and the laws of this virus, the difficult laws regarding protecting our lives from the virus is lifted, then the people of Iman will definitely see that the time of protecting their Iman will then come. But then from the government side, laws will not come to help us. Rather, every law that will be made after that will be to the detriment of the people of Iman. When the world speaks about 5G, and they speak of artificial intelligence, and they speak about the world of the robot, in the next surah, in Surah An-Naml, Almighty Allah describes how the jinn, after making man amazed, in the time of Sulaiman alayhi salatu wassalam, the Queen of Sheba, her name was Bilqis. She was a woman of great intelligence, of great power. But because her eye became focused on the beauty of the sun, because she understood with the sun life comes to our land, because of the sun the crops come out, because of the brilliance of the sun, she did not have someone to tell her that just because the sun is so brilliant, it does not mean that behind the sun, just because the sun is apparent, it does not mean that behind the sun, the one that is not apparent. Just because you can see one thing does not mean there is not something existing just because you can't see it. She needed a Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam to be brought into her life, who was going to direct her that there are many things in this world. How you see it, it's completely the opposite. How you feel it, there is some other reality behind it. Sometimes you are looking actually at the reflection, it's not the real thing. The sun was never the giver of power and life to the world. Rather, the sun was a sign of Almighty Allah giving life and power to the world. Sometimes when the reflection is so unique in the mirror, in the water, a person forgets this is a mere reflection and the original is somewhere else. When we will enter the era of 5G and artificial intelligence and the world of the robot, which most likely all of us will see in the next 10 years, it will come with such a bang. It will produce such amazing results. It will be able to read into the mind of an individual, and it will bring to him many of the things that he demands within seconds. During that time, the word insha'Allah, masha'Allah will be snatched away from the tongues and hearts of the people of Iman. When everything will be on their hand, will be on their wristwatch, when nothing will be going against plan, the world will be pushed into what is called no longer atheism, that we don't need a God. But in the amazement with the world of the robot, once upon a time, the shayateen had to get man amazed with the sun, and through the sun, the shayateen were worshipped. Then the world saw the time where the shayateen got man amazed with man. They became amazed with Fir'aun. They were amazed with Namrud. Throughout history, there will be many strong people who stood up because of the power they showed, because of the brilliance they showed, because of the decisions that they made which shocked others, and many a time because of the jinn power behind them. The world in front of them fell in sajda to them, and they would make sajda to the jinn. So either through the sun the worship of the jinn took place, or either through man the worship of the jinn. When we were young, we saw the world. Perhaps they never understood it. When they called that soccer star a star, when they called him an idol, when they called him my idol, when he was the beginning and everything of their life, they never understood that perhaps it is not the soccer player I am worshipping, but rather something behind that soccer player. Some shaitani world that put him up. It wasn't only that he kicked the ball straight, but every camera that was going to take a picture was going to take a picture of him. When someone was going to purchase for the highest, he was going to be purchased. When every magazine was going to put a picture on their cover, it was going to be his. Without us realizing, they put the love of that player, not of that soccer he played, but of the player himself, in the heart of the people of Iman. They even called him an idol. As they worshipped that person, they were actually worshipping the jinn behind that person. But as we now move into the new era, into what we call a Vision 2030, it seems the jinn now no longer want man to worship the jinn through the sun, nor do they want man to worship the jinn through other men. Now the move will be made to make man so amazed with the world of technology, with the world of robots, with what is called AI, artificial intelligence. It will start with many robots. It will enter into our houses. It will enter into our lives. It will enter into our minds. It will enter into our hearts. It will be the beginning of our day. It will be the ending of our day. It will wake us up in the morning, and it will be the last thing that will say goodbye, good night. It will make sure the lights are off. It will make sure the alarm is on. It will be man's protection while he is asleep. It will be man's aid when he is awake. He will not have to know and worry about directions. He will not have to keep any diary. He will not worry about purchasing something from the shop. It will do everything and anything. Perhaps the time will come in certain households, they will find no needs for domestic workers. One robot will be vacuuming. One robot will be making food. At that time, whether a man finds a need even for a wife, who will know? When this robot will enter, it will store his every secret. It will have his every bank balance. Nothing will be hidden from the robot. He will put his entire trust in the robot, thinking that this thing will never betray me. However, he will not realize that who's behind the robot. As his confidence, his amazement, his trust is grabbed by this robot, as it fulfills his every desire, his every wish, as it takes his eye and it makes it so settle solely on its power, at that time man will become blind, like how the Queen of Sheba became blind. The robot will fulfill man's every need. The shayateen would ensure. When the bird Hudhud, Sulaiman alayhi salatu wassalam, was searching for him, he did not find him. After a while he came. Sulaiman alayhi salam was upset. Where have you been? The bird Hudhud said, وَجِئْتُكَ مِنْ Saba. I have come from a nearby land, the land of Saba. بِنَبَإٍ يَقِينٍ. I got amazing news for you. إِنِّي وَجَدْتُ امْرَأَةً تَمْلِكُهُمْ. I found a woman who's the queen of the land. This was Bilqis. وَأُوتِيَتْ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Indeed, she has been given from everything. When we will enter the world of the robot, many of the people of the world will be made kings or like kings. When the city of Neom opens up, it will be like a paradise for the rich people of the world. It will be a city where your every dream is fulfilled. Your every wish will be at your fingertip. As you think about something, you will see it prepared. A city where they wish that if a person comes sick, he will go out better. A city where there will be no germs. A city where there will be no difficulty. A city where there will be no crime. Loudly, if they wanted to say it, they could have said, we will create Jannah in this world. وَأُوتِيَتْ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Bilqis also had her paradise. وَلَهَا عَرْشٌ عَظِيمٌ. If Almighty Allah has the great throne, then she also had her mighty throne. She could not think that there is anyone greater than me. The beginning and end of her life was the mighty sun. وَجَدْتُهَا وَقَوْمَهَا يَسْجُدُونَ لِلشَّمْسِ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. Her morning would start with the sun. The Mufassirin write that in her room, there was a certain hole in the wall, like how we have a window today. As the sun would rise, as soon as the ray of the sun would come through that, for her it was what we call our Fajr time. For her it was a time to wake up, to worship the mighty sun. The beginning of the day was the sun. The end of the day was the sun. When the summer months would come, that would be their festival, that our God has shown extra power. وَجَدْتُهَا وَقَوْمَهَا. I found her and a nation making sajda to a sun. Hudhud was a simple bird. Hudhud was not given the intelligence of man. This bird found it very amazing that a woman of such intelligence, that she can be the queen of a land, but she cannot understand that the sun is a mere creation. Hudhud would say, وَزَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُمْ. It seems that the devil has made their very actions which are foolish. He has made it seem to them 100% correct. فَصَدَّهُمْ عَنِ السَّبِيلِ. Indeed, the devil has taken them far from the path. فَهُمْ لَا يَهْتَدُونَ. Now they have no way for coming back onto the path. A normal bird was going to speak. The name of the surah is An-Naml, because just before the incident of Bilqis, just before Hudhud brings the news to Sulaiman alayhi salam of what he had seen with the Queen Bilqis, just before that Sulaiman alayhi salam is out with his armies. وَحُشِرَ لِسُلَيْمَانَ جُنُودُهُ مِنَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ وَالطَّيْرِ. His birds, men, jinn, the entire army is moving, everyone in their lines. حَتَّى إِذَا أَتَوْا عَلَى وَادِ النَّمْلِ. As they are moving through the fields, they come very close to what we will call a valley of ants. قَالَتْ نَمْلَةٌ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّمْلُ ادْخُلُوا مَسَاكِنَكُمْ. One simple ant, this word namlatun, with a little knowledge of the Arabic language, that tanween is called tankir. Tankir means an inferior, insignificant, a nobody. It was one simple ant. The simple ant he saw in the distance. He saw the mighty army coming. A simple ant with his simple eye. The ant who majority of his time is in the darkness of his hole. He was not blessed with the best of this world. From day to night he has to work, to gather that grains, who eats simple, who lives simple, who dies simple, who's just a simple worker, whose name will never be known. But that ant could understand what the meaning of danger is. It could understand what the meaning is of a superior power. It was not stuck in its own world, what was known as the ant world, that the beginning and end of its life was being an ant. As soon as he picked up the army of Sulaiman alayhi salam coming, it said, Ya ayyuhan namlu dkhulu masakinakum. O my ant colony, go back into your holes, enter into your houses. La yahtimannakum Sulaimanu wa junudu. Let it not be that Sulaiman alayhi salam and his army trample upon you. Wahum la yash'urun. They will not even know they are trampling us. Meaning, this is not the time for us to act proud. This is not the time for us to say, this is our valley. How dare you enter into our valley? This is not the time for us to say to the army of Sulaiman alayhi salam, do not interfere with the system of our life. We have our set life. We will not let you and your law interfere. Very nicely he said to the colony, they will trample us in such a manner that they will not even know that they trample us. When the ant could realize the power of a superior power, of a mightier force, does not allow one to have pride. It was only right that man, Bilqis, every queen, every king, me and you, all of us understand that we got our simple colony here in this world in a small valley. Each one of us thinks I am the strongest of the ants, depending on how much of grain I have brought into my house, how much I have stored in my one hole. But as the ant, when it saw the coming army of Sulaiman alayhi salam, it understood pride does not help against this army. It said to it, forget your pride. If the coming of this army demands we must stop our business and our work right now, stop it. Because our salvation lies in humility. Go back into our holes, no matter how dark it is there. You cannot fight against this power. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam's first da'wah was this. He said, "O my Quraysh family, I see the punishment of Almighty Allah at your heads." When the power of Almighty Allah is in front, man forgets his pride. If the command of Almighty Allah disturbs man's business, he understands, rather let it disturb my business, otherwise I will not survive. Such a destruction will come upon me and my family, that the angels will not even realize what they had done. Meaning it will be a nothing, which Quran is mentioned in other places, كَأَلَّمْ يَغْنَوْ فِيهَا. It just seemed that no one ever lived there yesterday. This was the brilliance of the mind of the ant. The surah takes its name, Surah Naml. When that ant could understand how to humble oneself in front of a mightier power, in front of Almighty Allah, it was the demand of all of us too. But like Bilqis, the devil has also made us blind. Because of the beautiful things he has put in front of us, we only see that. We only see the rising of the sun, the setting of the sun. Our eye has not been given the chance to see beyond the sun. Sulaiman alayhi salatu wassalam wrote a letter to Bilqis. The manner she responded to the letter, the people around her said, "Let's fight him." She was a woman of great intelligence. She said, "No, we will test him." She said, "There's no need to fight. What if we lose the battle? Then we will be the ones suffering more than anyone else." She would test him with wealth. She would send some wealth to see whether he's interested in the money that's coming. For Sulaiman alayhi salam, he would look at that. He would say to the people bringing it, that what do you expect me to do with this money of yours, with this wealth, this gold of yours? He said, you all go and enjoy your gold, but say to your queen, if I come to her, I will come with such an army that she will not manage to stand against this army in the least. But on hearing this answer, Bilqis realized that this is not a normal king. This is a man whose heart has been filled with the love of a creator. He is divinely inspired. He has been aided by divine powers. She speaks to her ministers and she says it's only right that we submit. Submission to Sulaiman alayhi salam, Bilqis made on account of what? On account of realizing that his military and his power is more stronger than hers. So she came already with one level of Islam, meaning submission. Submission to the law of Sulaiman alayhi salam. But she did not come yet with the level of Islam, meaning Islam submission to the law of Almighty Allah. Sulaiman alayhi salam, he was not only looking to take over her kingdom, that she must submit in front of him, and she must pay the taxes. It was the demand of Sulaiman alayhi salam's jazba, his imani jazba, his jazba of being a Nabi of Allah, that even da'wat must reach her. Sulaiman alayhi salam heard regarding her kingdom. He understood how she had been made blind, and he was going to do then what we call a plan, a tadbir. That in that tadbir, sometimes in a physical act there is more da'wat than what is a verbal statement. Sulaiman alayhi salam had prepared for her. She was going to come towards Sulaiman alayhi salam, but she had to cross over water. The jinn were ordered on top of the water to put a glass. So unique that glass was, that if a person did not know, he would not think or he would not realize there's a glass there. Today in the world you get certain places like that. While standing on it you will really think there's nothing under you, and you will start feeling dizzy as though you're going to fall. Sulaiman alayhi salam placed that glass over the waters. In the bubbling waters as the fish was moving, that was sparkling to the eye, brilliant to the eye. And now Bilqis comes. Sulaiman alayhi salatu wassalam indicates, فَلَمَّا جَاءَتْ قِيلَ أَهَكَذَا عَرْشُكَ. She had a very unique throne. Her entire mind was in that throne. It was the beginning and ending of her life. It was her power. When coming to Sulaiman alayhi salam, she put so many people in charge of it. This was the maqsad, you will say, this was the thing of her heart. If this arsh had to go, everything would have gone. Sulaiman alayhi salatu wassalam wanted to give a lesson to her. Many lessons were going to be given. But one lesson is that what little you have today in front of the treasure of Almighty Allah is valueless. A day will come tomorrow when Almighty Allah will give such treasures that what you died for today, you will not even bother looking at. What you regarded as a diamond today will be understood to be a piece of rock tomorrow. What was understood as your beautiful house today, tomorrow you will regard it as a hut, as a shanty, as something I am shy of to say once upon a time I lived in it. This body that you take so much of pride in today, when you will see the body that Allah has kept in the new world, man will feel shy to ever say this once upon a time was my body. Her entire azmat and honor was for her arsh, for her throne. Sulaiman alayhi salam asked one of his ministers to bring the throne. In a miraculous manner, despite all the guards around this throne, when Almighty Allah wants something to happen, it happens, no one in the world can see it. The throne was brought. A slight change was made in the throne. It was going to give her the shock of her life. As she would enter, thinking that I am the only one who got a throne like this, the first thing she would see is her throne. A throne like hers. Nobody else in the world can have something. It was to say, it was to give a message. Don't ever think what you got is one of its kind. There are many like that in the world. But another message that was going to be given is the power of the people of Sulaiman alayhi salam compared to the power she had. It took so many years to get that arsh made for her. It took such a long time to have it placed where it was placed. It took the blink of an eye for Sulaiman alayhi salam to take that arsh and bring it next to him. There was a message that what you give your entire life for, in the blink of an eye you can lose it all also. What you thought was that beautiful body, or you were in love with a certain girl and you could not just give up. You wanted a certain boy and you were not ready to let go. In the blink of an eye, that which had become the arsh, the throne of your life, for which you sacrificed everything, your dunya and your akhirah, as she lost it in a blink of an eye, me and you will also lose our throne in the blink of an eye. There is nothing in this world that has the haqq that man must give his heart and his life for, except the Zat of Almighty Allah. When she entered, Sulaiman alayhi salam asked her, is this your throne? In amazement she said, كَأَنَّهُ هُ, that it seems like it, it's something like this, and her mind was shocked. She was puzzling. Had she had a phone at that time, she would have made a message to find out, is my throne there? What is it doing here? When she realized that this really is her throne, what she had sacrificed for so much and she had lost in the blink of an eye, وَأُوتِينَ الْعِلْمَ مِنْ قَبْلِهَا وَكُنَّا مُسْلِمِينَ. She says, from before we were given the knowledge of your mighty power. That's why we have submitted to your power. She came submitting to the power of Sulaiman alayhi salam, but he did not want that. He wanted her to submit, and he was going to give a lesson to her and to all of us. He was going to do an operation upon her eye. The operation was successful. May Almighty Allah make it through the barakah of these verses of Quran, that operation that opened her eye, it also opens our eye. وَصَدَّهَا مَا كَانَتْ تَعْبُدُ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. That which she was worshipping up till now had turned her away from reality. قِيلَ لَهَا ادْخُلِ الصَّرْحِ. Sulaiman alayhi salam said to her, come front. Come towards the palace. To come towards the palace, she had to go past this water. She had to come alone. فَلَمَّا رَأَتْهُ. When she looked at the beautiful, at the sparkling water, bubbling water, when she saw the fish that was jumping and hopping through, everything looked so beautiful, so beautiful. حَسِبَتْهُ لُجَّةً. She understood that this is flowing, sparkling water. And how a person will normally enter into water, and you do not want to wet your clothing. وَكَشَفَتْ عَنْ سَاقِيهَا. She would lift her lower garment until her shin, and then she would take the first step. But where she understood that her leg now will go deep into the water, it banged on the glass. She herself was put in shock, and she looked around and everyone is looking at her. Had she not lifted up her lower garment, her dress, she could have perhaps made a story and said, I knew there's a glass here. But now what she could say when she was caught in that form, where her hand is on her dress is lifted slightly, her leg bangs on the floor, and she looks around. In that looking around, one, she felt shy, But she was a woman of great intelligence. The operation was done. Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam, all he had to say to her was, "Innahu sarhun mumarradum min qawarir." That indeed, this entire palace of mine, and even that water, is covered with glass. What it meant is, just because you cannot see the glass, does not mean there is no glass. And just like how today, when you could not see the glass, and you had to become ashamed, embarrassed in front of all, let it not be that in this world, just because Almighty Allah is so unique, so beautiful, but just because you cannot see His beauty, like how you could not see the glass, does not mean He is not there. You could not see the glass which made you embarrassed in front of all. If you cannot see Almighty Allah in this world, then on the day of Qiyamah you will be embarrassed in front of all. That person, if someone had before this told you that as you are going up to the mighty King Sulaiman, then beware, he is going to trap you. Or look for the glass which the eye will not pick up, but it's there. Perhaps then you would not have done what you did. You would have realized it, you would have seen it. Sometimes when glass is there, man will pick it up with the shine of the sun on it. But you will only pick it up if you're looking for it. She was not looking because no one told her to look. Every Nabi of Allah came to tell the people that if you want to see Almighty Allah, you will manage to see Almighty Allah. Everything indicates to Almighty Allah. But if you are not looking, you will see everything else except Almighty Allah. The lesson that Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam gave her, it hit her heart so hard. Immediately she said, "Rabbi, inni zalamtu nafsi." Oh Allah, indeed for so many years I have oppressed myself. Just because I saw the brilliance of the sun, it made me blind that perhaps behind the sun there's a mightier power. Just because I cannot see him doesn't mean that he is not there. Wa aslamtu ma'a Sulaiman. First she had come, she had submitted to Sulaiman alayhi salam. But now she would say, aslamtu ma'a Sulaiman. Rather now I have submitted to Almighty Allah, to that very being who Sulaiman alayhi salam also submitted to. Before this she would have been a tabi', she would have been a follower of Sulaiman alayhi salam, but she and her people would have been disgraced. They would remain in their shirk and their kufr. They would pay the jizya, they would pay the tax. They would be submitting to another man, to another creation. And the day they die, that man, that creation would not manage to help them one bit. But when the eye was cleansed, when that cataract was lifted, when the blindness was removed, now she was able to accept Islam with Sulaiman alayhi salam. She was able to submit to the very being to who Sulaiman alayhi salam also submits. Now if she has to die, Almighty Allah will see to her every need. If she was a queen in this world, now with Iman, Almighty Allah will keep her a queen in the year after. Before this year, her mention in the Quran would be like the mention of Fir'aun and Qarun and Namrud. With this one kalima that she read, the mention of Bilqis made her among the selected slaves of Almighty Allah. وَأَسْلَمْتُ مَعَ سُلَيْمَانَ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. She said, I understood my error and I have now submitted together with Sulaiman alayhi salam, lillahi, in front of Almighty Allah, who indeed is the Rabb of the entire world. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala make it that the lesson that she took and how quickly she took it, despite being involved with the jinn, around the jinn, and in the worship of the sun for so many years, by the fadl of Almighty Allah, we never started in a house of shirk. We never began in the house of worshipping the fire. We never worshipped with the jinn. We never worshipped the jinn. We never enjoyed and took benefit from them. For us to pull away from them is much easier than it was for her. But how she took that courage and in a sentence she turned away from it all. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala bless us all that our eye can also open up in this coming days when many things will come in front of us. Each will exhibit a new power. Each will show its things of amazement. That eye that has been blessed, that can see beyond it, behind it, in everything and anything, it will see nothing but the qudrat, the power of Almighty Allah. That person will live with Iman. That person will be a cause of Iman spreading in the world. He himself will be light. He will spread light in the world. May Almighty Allah make us all from those people. May Allah Tabarak Ta'ala protect us, protect our iman, protect the iman of our progeny in the coming days. May Almighty Allah not allow us to fall in amazement and in the worship of anything else except that we remain amazed and in the worship of Almighty Allah. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen.